U.S. President Donald Trump marks his first year in office on Saturday, January the 20th. Mr. Trump's tumultuous first year was unlike any other in recent U.S. political history, and 2018 could offer more of the same. Here's VOA National Correspondent Jim Malone.
For America's 45th president, it was a bold beginning.
From this day forward, it's going to be only America first. America first.
President Trump moved swiftly to cut Obama-era regulations and filled a vacancy on the Supreme Court. His biggest victory came in December, a sweeping tax cut bill.
This is the bill right here, and we're very proud of it. It's going to be a tremendous thing for the American people. It's going to be fantastic for the economy.
Passage of the tax bill could help Republicans in this year's congressional elections, says analyst John Fortier.
Republicans did get a tax bill passed, a significant tax bill in December. That was a major accomplishment for them, so that is something that has put them on a better track.
Mr. McCain. No.
But Trump's first year saw plenty of setbacks as well. There was a failed attempt to repeal Obamacare, numerous outbursts on Twitter, and at times inflammatory presidential rhetoric, including Trump's recent reported vulgar description of Haiti and African countries.
No, I'm not a racist.
That prompted outrage from Democrats, including Senator Cory Booker.
Those words just don't dissipate like mist in the air. They fester. They become poison. They give license to bigotry and hate in our country.
Trump's controversial and at times polarizing leadership style continues to hurt his poll ratings, despite a strong economy, says analyst John Hudak.
I think people are judging him on a variety of other factors other than the economy, and that explains his lower approval rating.
Hey, ho, ho! Donald Trump has got to go!
Trump's historically low presidential approval rating could also fuel Democratic gains in the November congressional elections, says analyst Larry Sabato.
When there's a wave, the water does not distinguish between those who've identified with an unpopular president and those who've tried to put distance between themselves and that unpopular president.
For 2018, Trump hopes a strong economy will improve his poll numbers. But the prospect of election losses in November and a Russia probe with no end in sight could make Trump's second year in office even more challenging than his first.
Well, and Jim Malone now joins me in studio for more on Trump's first year in office. Jim, welcome to Africa 54.
Thank you, Vincent.
Now, in fact, we can begin with the point of the approval rating. President Trump has got like the lowest. It's a first year. How do you compare this with past presidents by the end of their first year?
Well, for example, Bill Clinton had somewhat weak poll ratings, but he was about 10 points above where President Trump is at the moment. And the interesting thing is that in Bill Clinton's second year in office, Democrats suffered one of their worst midterm losses in Congress in decades. And in fact, power majority flipped from Democrat to Republican in the House, and that changed the whole trajectory of Bill Clinton's presidency. And that's a big concern for this year. We have congressional elections in November. What will be the outcome? Right now, Democrats are using the opposition to President Trump as a catalyst for their supporters.
Now, we talked a lot about the promises he made coming into office. In fact, the reason why he won the election. What is the report card looking like? I know you had something in your report, in your package, but how can he be rated?
So it depends on where you stand and who you voted for in 2016. His supporters pretty much are staying with him. Some of them are quite exuberant about him trying to keep his promises. He did so on the tax bill. He did so on trying to emphasize it's an America first world, as we saw from his inauguration. So his supporters show no signs of breaking away. The problem is, for the president, that number is not very high. And it's about 10 points down from the number he got in the election, which was roughly 46% of the popular vote. So how does he come back this year? That's the big question for him.
And there's certain things it may look like so easy that it's just going to do on day one or day two, the immigration bill, the Obamacare, bringing back jobs. What is being said out there about what he's done so far?
Well, I think, you know, the tax bill issue is starting to help a little bit at Republicans, and they hope it will blunt any Democratic momentum in November. But Democrats had some success in depicting that as something that basically helps the wealthy. So Republicans have to try to turn around that narrative. And there's just the unpredictable nature of the president. No matter what Republicans do to try to set their course, they never know where the president's going to come down on an issue.
Worst case scenario for him, he loses the House. What could that mean?
I think that would actually lead to a stalemated presidency. And this is something Republicans are concerned about. There's an outside chance they could even lose control of the Senate, which would really kind of bring gridlock back to Washington. But as we're seeing with this shutdown debate currently, we have gridlock already. So a Democratic victory, I think, in Congress, though, would make it very difficult for him to make some major achievements in the next 2 years of his presidency.
And be sure we'll call you back for some more analysis some other time. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vincent.
As always. Well, that's Jim Malone, VOA's national correspondent.